Hi, everyone. I do hope and pray you do like and subscribe and you like the content. And yeah, have a good day. My topic is on so you say you're an empath. Really? What constitutes an empath? The thing is that word is being, well, I shouldn't say thrown around, but it's being put as a label to identify certain types of people. Way before they were called highly sensitive people, HSPs. Then we went to empath. Throughout the history of an empath, they are going to be given more to a higher level of awareness. So much so that the awareness will cause them to become extremely modest and extremely humble because they see things in in a larger context that we are really all just small specks, that they don't really have the time and the level of practice to act big. The bigness by which they bring and they come is that they are going to be extremely helpful. And you have them as a friend, they're going to be the person who is basically going to do and do and do. They're going to make sure that they have your back. They're going to be very careful that if they're highly faithful, that if you were in a topic that was brought up and they trusted you and trusted you enough, they will be very faithful to your reputation, that they will defend it on your behalf. They go down to the level by which if you have a need and if you have a thing going on in your life and they care for you, that care will trickle out to them, giving you, if need be, the shirt off their back. They're extremely talented. Um, if they were to pick up certain things to do, they will. They have a higher level of integration into what they get involved in, but also a higher level of commitment and discipline. They're also highly principled and disciplined people. Now, fast forward today, I've heard people have called themselves empaths, right? The thing is about an empaths are so aware of their weakness. That's probably what would make them more eligible to say they are, because they're so aware of their shortcomings. They're always coming up taller than other people because so many people spend their times selling themselves tall, whereas an empath ain't selling nothing. They're not about selling. They're not about making a performance before anyone. They simply are. They're being. They be. They're just be. They just be. They're about as simple and as sweet and as amazing as a butterfly on a sunny day lands on a flower, and you just get a chance to watch them do their thing the way a butterfly would. They're very light. Not only people of the light, as in light compared to darkness, but they are of the light. They they're so translucent and transparent that you would never have to ask them to, can I see through you? Because you will see through them, that they give so much allowance to their fault that they get hurt by it. When they get hurt, they're sure enough to see it from both sides, to find out where they are incorrect and what happened. They'll probably ruminate and trouble. They'll probably be more troubled as to anything that happened when they were involved in something that people see that as an opportunity, especially opportunist. Now, my title went along the avenue about, so you say you're an empath, and I go, really? Um, when a person is quick to say that they're an empath, I I have certain red flags go up, or flags, or my my senses go up when a person makes an announcement, because empaths are known to be extremely modest people. They don't build their reputation on labels. Their reputation is built already. It speaks for itself. So they're not really building anything. They're built up there. Whether they're born that way, I think a lot of it has to do also their honing, because it takes a certain level of keep on keeping on. The thing is about empaths is that they're extremely consistent. You will have a consistency with them. If they're going to do something, they're going to do it, and they're going to do it well. If they're going to be telling you that they can have certain things done, you will be guaranteed that they're going to have it done. They're extremely faithful too. Now, the thing is about people who say that they're empaths and basically leave it at that. They're some of the most they're very laughable in respect that they tell their faults tells on them. And one of the faults that they're very famous for is that they don't like to be faulted. They don't like to be at fault. They are not willing to take the fault, and they're not willing to be the reason why there was a fault. An empath will not protect their position as much as a phony empath will. Because empaths care so much about other people's and their feelings. The higher level of awareness that they have is that any environment where they are, if they feel even just a little bit responsible for causing someone else pain or discomfort, they're sure to apologize, because that's the last thing they want to do. See, that's what makes them so different, is because they feel, well, not as much as feel, but their awareness is able to bring by another sense, a divine sense, the other person's stuff. They're so aware of what's going on in the environment with everyone. Most people, if they choose not to focus on you, is because their awareness have put up certain protectors around them. They're so good at their keen eye that they have. They're able to see the misconceptions and the inconsistencies of people. In so doing, that when people will speak certain things, the empath will listen to what is truly being said. They listen not to the words or to the verbs, but to the tone by what is said. They can pick it up extremely well. Not so with the phony empath. The phony empath has a model which they live, and they believe that is with the empaths, because they think empaths are so honest. The Bible says that one ought to speak their truth in love. One ought to be able to be guided by discretion. Not so with the non-empath. The non-empath throws things out. They like to tell it as it is. They don't care how much they affect you, because they're not aware of their effect on you. That's what makes a non-empath. You just got to watch them when they make the delivery in any given situation you're in with them, and see that non-empath react with a self-contained delivery, and not a outer awareness delivery. See, some people can speak things, but it's how you say things, and because you're so well aware how the other person's feeling when it's said. Another thing empaths don't like, they don't like, whether it be good or bad people, to be hurt. See, they have developed, and whether they're born with it or whether it's been shown upon them, God is the ultimate empath. Absolute empathy. He spoke of himself so many times, well, not from quite a few times in his description of himself. One is to Moses, and even in the prophets, he said he's highly, highly, like totally, you couldn't go any higher, merciful, gracious, abundant in forgiveness and goodness, and able to clear anyone of iniquity, but will by no means clear the guilty. God has a higher sense of justice when it comes to people who refused, who absolutely refuse to find their justification by change. Empaths are consistently changing for the better. It's like a wheel that has tons of light in it, and you spin it. That light turns into a massive display of glowing power with the amount of rotations that is going on with it, the revolutions per minute of its power. Empaths are extremely powerful. They touch, the very touch that they have is that when a door closes, they can listen to when the door slams and how it's being slammed, that they close it gently. Gentleness precedes them so much as manners also. Their manner is to observe if they're living in other people's environment. Their manner is to make sure that they keep everything well ordered. And what I mean by that is that however they find somewhere, they'll either make it look better or they'll leave it just the way they found it, as long as it was found good. They have a high attention to detail. And the reason why I go more and more into what empaths are, because non-empaths really need to take a hard look at themselves when they start spouting that they are an empath. Like I really do believe there's a place you identify, go, okay, you know what? I have these traits, and I've always felt I was different, even growing up. I always felt I was a person that wasn't the one kind of like wanting to be in the forefront, and I was always on the side, and I was the one smiling. I was always the one kind of like being easy and nice. People were able to come over and not feel anything other than they felt welcomed. And that's the things that non-empaths are very good at doing. Non-empaths, especially when they go spouting their empaths, they have the ability to make the vibe, the feelings, the environment extremely uncomfortable, little by little or all at the same time. Non-empaths also they're extremely envious. You you watch them being attached to animals, and animals have a high level of empathy. That's why empaths really get on well with animals. They don't even have to say anything with their mouth, and the animal and them are on the same wavelength because they speak the invisible language of peace wherever they are, because as long as that animal has been trained to be violent, the animal and the empath are basically two peas in a pod. When you take, especially, I mean, I've heard of one a parent professing empath have have her dogs, and she began to show a possessiveness, a kind of a very wonky kind of vibe. She slowly started to put on the animals, and when the animals were in her environment, they began to show anything but peaceability. As a matter of fact, I saw one of them cower when she could come, especially if someone else was showing the dog attention. And the dog was fine until she appeared in the environment. This is the thing about an empath, and I'll leave you this, compared to a non-empath. True empaths do not promote fear. It says in the Bible, the perfect love casts out all fear. A non-empath who wants to run amok professing that they're empaths produce fear. They cause tension. They create performance-oriented uh, orientation in relationships. To be with them, you will never ever feel relaxed. It's a reward system. An empath doesn't do any of those things. An empath isn't about a reward system. An empath is simply about just simply you're going to enjoy their company. And that is what it's all about. We have our one life to live here, and I trust that you will live it and you'll find Jesus Christ, who is a true empath, who is the ultimate empath. And this is what he said of himself. An envy empath has the same thing that he has. He says, "Come therefore and follow me. Learn of me. You'll find rest for your souls. For I am lowly in heart and gentle of soul." This is what Jesus Christ said. This is what God says about himself. This is what non-empaths cannot say about themselves. Have a good day.